Every brand, every agency creates a lot of content, but as a human, and again, we're still humans, I know, in all the AI conversation, right? I only share a great story, right? I'm not going to share a piece of content, and I think we always try to think about what is that lens and what is the story that really connects the brand truth to the fan truth.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Ad Podcast. We are on the balcony of Day One Agency's beautiful penthouse apartment here on the Palais, right across the street from the main action. And we are sitting down with Josh Rosenberg, who is the CEO and founder of Day One Agency. Josh, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, Dylan. Great to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Beautiful day.
This is a great space. We're going to get hot here. I won't keep you for incredibly too long, but tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your shop. And how's your Cannes been so far?
Cannes has been great so far. It's just awesome being here, obviously being so inspired by not only the work, but just the conversations. And we have a lot of clients that are here on the ground as well. So it's awesome to spend some time IRL with them and talking about the work. But the agency, we've been around for 12 years. I co-founded it with two other business partners. Now there's 4 of us all together. And we're about 185 people between New York, LA, Chicago, and Portland, Oregon.
Let's go.
But really focused on earned creativity and helping brands connect to consumers no matter where they are, especially in this really complicated and fragmented media landscape, which we get to be sort of on the beach and on the Croisette,
we get a front row seat. It's like a microcosm of how busy the internet is, right?
Yeah, how busy all of our feeds are. Correct.
Awesome, man. Well, I love that you lead it off with the idea of earned creativity. I think that's a cool positioning. Campaigns that aren't forcing people to watch them because of a big media buy behind them, but campaigns that really draw you in based on the comms design and the strategy and the channel and the talent that you use, creating content that's meant to entertain, inspire, etc., versus just interrupt people. So tell me a little bit more about that thesis and how does it show up in the work that you guys do for clients?
I think it shows up in everything that we do. We're really focused at Day One Agency on storytelling. Our whole agency is built around that. We have 3 centers of excellence, one around shaping the story, one around sharing the story, and one around fueling the story. And I think in today's world, that story is so important because, as you're mentioning, every brand, every agency creates a lot of content, but as a human, and again, we're still humans, I know, in all the AI conversation, right? I only share a great story, right? I'm not going to share a piece of content, and I think we always try to think about what is that lens and what is the story that really connects the brand truth to the fan truth, and that really is, I think, the thesis and the goal of all of our work to really connect the brand to their fans and even expand the fandom or find new fans.
Amazing. What are trigger points, do you think, for people to share something, even if it's something that maybe isn't, maybe a consumer knows that this is put out by a brand, but what do you think? It's hard enough to get people to share each other's content, friends' content. You have to really fight for a like these days, fight for engagement. People are, people don't just engage with everything that they see. They really are intentional about the things that they like and share because that informs your algorithm. If you go and like something and you go and share something, then it's going to be in your feed for 3 or 4 days. So people, I think, are aware of that and they're a little bit more intentional about the things that they do engage with because they want their feeds to be as optimized as possible. So how can you get a consumer to share a piece of brand content? What are some of the key elements of campaign design with that type of work?
I think the consumer really wants to see themselves reflected back in the work. So like that brand gets me. And I think in this world where we do have the never-ending feeds and also the never-ending comments, it becomes more accessible to really understand what are the consumers saying, what are they thinking, right? And how are they sort of moving through the internet, frankly, in all the niche communities. So I think when they see a brand that is authentic to that community, whether that's skate or surf or I'm trying to think of, even the tattoo community, right? We work with Chipotle. One of the campaigns that we're super proud of is our campaign that we did for Tattoo Day, which is basically Friday the 13th. And we basically got to come, I'm actually wearing it right now.
That's awesome. I love
But you basically, anyone who had a tattoo, and you could even have like a napkin.
I was going to say, that's really good client development right there.
Exactly.
You got to make.
Okay, well, it's a flash tattoo. It does come off eventually. But anyway, but the insight there was that, Friday the 13th is a tattoo holiday. But we were able to expand that sort of insight, which we saw a lot of people talking about being tatted like a Chipotle bag. So we sort of had a buy one, get one offer on Friday the 13th around, it became the biggest sales day ever in Chipotle's history. But it was awesome. Fans seeing themselves reflected back in that, but then also they wanted to share and tell their other friends who might not even be part of the tattoo community, so much so that it scaled beyond that initial group of people that, were, if you know about Friday the 13th being a tattoo holiday. So I think that's just one example.
I love that example. Can you tell us a little bit about how do you find that insight? People talking about Chipotle, the Chipotle bag, and the fact that it looks like a tattoo, or that becomes a meme almost, or like a line, if you will. And then, so how do you uncover that insight? And how do you decide if a niche community like people who have tattoos or are engaged in tattoos is a big enough community and an influential enough community to then create a campaign that, like you mentioned, expands to the second and third circles and becomes, so powerful that it moves the biggest sales day?
That's a great question, I think. And for Chipotle, it's, we're really fortunate. We've been working with them for now 9 years.
Wow.
So our team is really engaged in the audience and in the fandom, and really, with an insights vault, we really understand, what the community is talking about at any given time, and also, what are sort of the things that only a Chipotle fan knows. So I think the Tatted Like a Chipotle was a meme that first, I think, came out in 2019 when Adam Levine was singing at the Super Bowl, and people on the internet were like, he's tatted like a Chipotle bag. And then we just kept seeing it, and and that's now 2019, what is that, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
So the internet is a great place, many times, not all the time, and it allows you to test and learn. So last year we actually, instead of doing a full day of the Friday the 13th, last June 13th was a Friday the 13th last year, and we did a 1 hour flash tattoo sale. Sorry, a 1 hour flash BOGO. So basically the same thing. You came in with your tattoo and you got a buy one, get one burrito. And we saw such great traction there that the team was like, let's do it for a whole day next year, because it was a Friday the 13th this year on 2026 on March 13th. So we didn't go all out all at once. I think we were able to test and learn to sort of see if that insight was actually scalable beyond the initial community, and it proved to be that it was.
I love it. All right, let's talk about Can. You guys are going big. You got the penthouse here across the street from the Palais. I saw your branding on the front yesterday walking around. I was like, oh, I'm interviewing those guys tomorrow. So, this is an investment, right? This probably isn't cheap, but it's important to you, important enough to be kind of front and center, hosting fun events, doing things. So tell us a little bit about how you are showing up this week, and how are you getting your agency out there and making sure that you're getting your share of voice and your share of attention from the marketers who are out and about when they're getting pulled in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, I think we pride ourselves on having really good relationships with our clients. So I think we're really using this as a way to get closer to them. We have probably 6 or 8 client teams that are here on the ground. So our team has really been dividing and conquering between those brand teams, and really, bringing them back to the apartment. We had an event on Sunday night. We're doing breakfast tomorrow with Casey Lewis from After School, which is a Substack really focused on Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and partnered with her now, I think, almost since she started the newsletter. But tomorrow we'll be talking about what are Gen Z's obsessions, and what are sort of all the things that brand marketers need to know about this audience that is so important, but also what is Gen Alpha? What's on their mind right now? We did some research with her, where she interviewed about, I think, 12 Gen Alpha kids with their parents, of course, to sort of see like what's on their mind, what are they thinking about, how are they using YouTube in different ways that marketers are not actually thinking about, and what is the best way to sort of reach and engage and start to build that brand.
Yeah.
So we're using this as our home base. It's a great location. We've had this now, I think, for 6 years, and it really has proven to be a great marketing and relationship builder for us.
I love it. Well, as a daughter of a Gen Alpha 12-year-old with 55,000 followers on Instagram, I know how influential that generation is. I would say, I did a podcast with an agency that did a Gen Alpha research study, and Gen Alpha influences where you go on vacation, what car you buy. They're extremely influential on their parents. They almost are kind of like the curator of cool for their parents. So if you're a millennial parent like me and you want to stay cool, you kind of let your Gen Alpha kids direct, a lot of the decisions on behalf of the family. So I think that's a great insight. I love that you guys are tapping into independent journalists as well, not just thinking about who's the person from Ad Age or Forrester or Morning Consult or something like that, and bringing an independent voice who's curating a very specific niche. How do you guys tap into kind of the business influencer community to lend thought leadership and co-create? I think that's a great opportunity.
I mean, honestly, it is just that, the co-creation and the thought leadership. We've known Casey since she started. We've known Emily Sundberg since she also started. I mean, we're also a very fantastic PR firm too. So we actually build those relationships not only for ourselves, but on behalf of our clients. But we think about those niche communities, especially in consumer lifestyle. We think about beauty or fashion. Substack and many of these independent journalists are where a lot of the conversations start. So we really do pride ourselves on building those relationships one person at a time by first becoming readers and being super engaged. We also this year launched our own Substack and editorial business called Side Projects, because we've done a lot of these research reports, and we've always had editorial as part of our business model and what we bring to our clients. And we just thought now is the time in this world of AI where there is no sort of source of daily news anymore, right? We need to help our clients understand and edit for them what they should be seeing at any given time, so that we can help sort of bring all the For You pages kind of together.
You can curate, filter, and let them know what they need to be doing.
Yeah, so Side Projects, it launched in April, and that's really been taking off, and that's been super fun as well. So not only do we build the relationships, but we also are in the community too, really trying to understand how do you build an audience, and how can we also help these Substackers and people on Beehive or whatever the platform is, really sort of find their audience.
Okay, that's a cool one.
I was at dinner with him last night. I didn't get a chance to meet him.
Yeah, the newsletter. Well, I think whether it's podcasting, newsletters, it's an amazing time to be a creator of any size and scale. There's a lot of opportunities. So. Awesome, man. Well, hey, you're doing great things. Super excited to have an opportunity to meet you. If folks at home want to follow along with your thought leadership, get connected with your guys' publishing and writing, or just follow along, or connect with the agency, where would you like to send them?
Go to d1a.com or side-projects.co.
Awesome. Let's go. Thanks for coming on.
Meet you.
Thanks for having me.
On YouTube, finding the right audience to build a media plan requires hours of research. And optimizing campaigns is time-consuming and a bit of a guessing game. That's why we built technology to do it for you. Strike Social.